I am Anthony from Haslage, and today I will be sharing some information with you about a recent Federal Trade Commission lawsuit against YouTube under the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. In a nutshell, the FTC alleged that YouTube illegally collected, air quotes here, personal information from children. Now, YouTube did settle the lawsuit, but it is now forced to make some changes in how its channel owners may operate. The potential financial risk to continuing to produce scheduled content, plus a lack of my own personal time, has led us to cease production, at least for now. So while you may not see scheduled content anymore, I may still live stream play content, but most likely it's going to be with other services. It doesn't feel too safe on YouTube right now. YouTube's trying to do kid content and general audience content, and they're not really meshing. But then you have Twitch and Mixer, who are strictly 13 plus, so it's kind of where we are right now. But before I get into the stuff you see on the screen, the FTC information, now keep in mind our viewership since April has doubled, or subscriptions I should say, and I'd like to thank all of you. I'm sorry that this is where we're kind of going to end for right now, but if you are looking for some Transformers, I'm recommending these two. They're also the only two I found. The 35th anniversary figures. This one, of course, is Sound Blaster. If you remember Sound Blaster from the Headmasters anime, essentially he was created out of parts from Blaster and Soundwave after they destroyed each other. And then, of course, for those of you who don't know, and then they recreated Blaster's twin cast. And then, of course, this is Blue Streak, who in the comics and kind of looks like him. He's basically a clone of Prowl, but in the toys he looks more like a clone of Prowl and Smokescreen. But they're essentially just different colors of other characters. So if you want to pick those up, you try to find them. Again, it was the last two, one of each, in my local Walmart. So, now normally this is where I'd stop and throw in a little ad or something. I'm not. So I'm just going to go straight into it. So if you look on the screen here, and hopefully you can see it, I try to fit the whole page in here. YouTube channel owners, is your content directed to children? And I have to be honest, mine isn't supposed to be, but it technically is. Toys and video games. Like, it's really hard to get away from being directed to children. It's not intentional. It's the stuff I like. But here we go. Under COPPA, which is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, how do I know if my channel is directed to children? Since the FTC and New York Attorney General announced their September 2019 settlement with YouTube for violations of the COPPA rule, we've heard that questions from channel owners, and that's called content creators. If your channel owner shares content on user-generated platforms like YouTube, read the FTC guidelines of applicable COPPA rule, and those covered by the rule can comply with its requirements. And then it explains, and I have the link in the description. And you know what? There's another, the game theorist, M.P.A did a decent explanation. So if you want to read his, there's a link in the description as well. So essentially, what it's saying is YouTube and Google, its owners, settled the case. And so just to recap, this is an act or a rule. It's an act and a ruling passed in 1998 when the internet was first coming about, and it provides a collection of information on children without explicit permission from the parents. Which, in the current way the law is written, my understanding is you literally would have to, your parent, you or your parent would have to fill out a form. Depending on if you're an adult watching this who has kids, or you're a kid watching this. But I fill out a form saying, hey, I give permission for blank to collect information on blank. It seems dumb, but again, it was 1998. So, then they define personal information. So how does it apply to channel owners? So, essentially, it's treated like it's a website or an application. If a channel owner uploads content to a platform like YouTube, it might meet the definition of a website or online service covered by COPPA, depending on the nature of its content and the information collected. Now, I purposely and I don't even know how I would collect information on kids. It is something that YouTube is doing actively. Obviously, online companies, a lot of them make money purely by collecting information and then selling it off. But if the content is directed to children and is channel owner or someone on its behalf collects personal information, again, YouTube on our behalf, from viewers of the content, and then the channel is covered by COPPA. Once COPPA applies, the operator must provide notice, obtain parental consent, and then there's other requirements. And then it says how channel owners can determine the content is directed to children. This is where I get in trouble. So there's no generic answer here, but the subject matter. Well, my subject matter is toys, video games, pretty much anything that's going to get me in trouble. I do stream content of video games, some of which are not children-friendly. This is visual content. The use of animated characters or children-oriented activities and setups. I broadcast sometimes children games because I'm a dork and I like that stuff. Music and audio content. Well, I try not to do the music and audio content thing because of, licensing. Age of models. I assume it doesn't mean modeling kits. I've done Legos, so I feel like it doesn't mean Legos. I think it means people wearing clothes, like you have children models. The presence of child celebrities or celebrities that appeal to children. I'm not one of those. Neither has, I think the only one of the other live people I've had here is another Pokemon professor, Tina. I don't think she has a huge children's following. Language and other characteristics of the site. I don't swear. Tina has slipped a few times. I believe I've had other guests who have slipped a few times, and in some of the video games I play have swears in it. Advertising promotes or appears on the site that's directed to children. I kind of have to promote the ones that tell us, here's some product, review it. And a couple of times, they have been companies that sell toys. So that I get kind of hurt by this one a little bit too. And then, of course, competent and reliable empirical evidence about the age of the audience. I don't keep that information. I assume that's something YouTube does, or I feel like maybe it's something I could look at. I don't really read the statistics on my channel. Again, this is a hobby for me, so I just do what I want to do. It's my own whim. So, yeah, there's a chance children see it. And then the determination of whether content is children-directed will be clearer in some contexts than in others. But we can share some general rules of thumb. First, unless you're firmly targeting kids, which I'm not purposely targeting kids, there are many subject matter categories where you don't have to worry about COPPA. For example, if your videos are traditionally about adult activities like employment, finances, politics, home ownership, home improvement, or travel, you're probably not covered unless your content is geared towards kids. A couple of those, I'm like, how do you gear that towards kids? But whatever. It's probably why it's safe. Same would be true if you're aimed at high school, college students. On the other hand, if content includes traditional children pastime activities, video games and toys, they may be child-directed. Second, just because your video has bright colors or animated doesn't mean you're automatically covered by COPPA. Many animated shows are directed to kids. The FTC recognizes an animated program that appeals to everyone. So, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, for example. General broad audience. Teen Titans Go, because I love that show. Despite the fact that it is, or the Adventures of Gumball, those two shows are they're Cartoon Network scheduled during the daytime. I love those shows, and the jokes that go over the kids' heads in them I notice and go, oh, okay, well, gee. So third, the complaint in the YouTube capes offers some examples of FTC considered to be directed to children. For example, many content creators explicitly stated in the About section of the YouTube page that the intended audience was children under 13. Now, this is me. We've been around since 2006 on YouTube, and I've always thought that YouTube was 13 and above. Now, I do realize in recent years, YouTube has been creating a kids thing. So I figured I didn't really have to worry about that because the kids go there. Other channels made similar statements and communications with YouTube. In addition, many of the channels featured popular animated children's program or showed kids playing with toys, participating in other child-oriented activities. I've never had kids on my channel. I barely tolerate kids. Some of the channel owners also enabled settings that made their content appear when users search the name for popular toys or animated characters. Toys and video games, yeah, duh, I'm going to put keywords in about those toys and video games. Again, another thing that gets me in trouble. So finally, you've applied for factors listed in the FCC, COPPA rules. and still wonder if your content is directed at children. I can't help it, apparently, but so it depends on how others view content similar to yours. Has your channel been reviewed on sites that elevate content for kids? Is your article, or is your channel or channels like yours mentioned on blogs, parenting and children? I kind of hope not. But if somebody is promoting me and they're targeted towards kids, I actually don't know about it. Have you surveyed your users and empirical evidence about the age? No, I haven't even looked at statistics, let alone doing surveys, because I don't care. Again, I do this on a whim. But here's where it gets me in trouble here. Rules allow, the rule, or the COPPA, allows for civil penalties of $42,530. I don't have that, and I think if I die, I'm only worth $30,000. So, I mean, life insurance, you know, it pays for the funeral. But the FTC considers a number of factors in determining the appropriate amount, including the company's financial condition and the impact of penalty you can have to stay in business. Google and YouTube paid $170 million in another COPPA case settled this year, and the operator paid a total penalty of $35,000. So, yeah, I don't have $42,000, and I don't know. I mean, Haslage doesn't make money. We haven't made money in probably about a decade. So, I mean, admittedly, prior to the requirement of having 1,000 subscribers, we were making like $50 a month on ad revenue through just pure hits. Or sorry, views, but we're not making any money now. We haven't made money since the rules changed. So, so the FCC, or FTC, I should say, they are in fact opened up comments below here. We're not going to read them. Some of them are angry, and that's not, again, that's not really where my channel is. So I don't want to read all that spite and hate. There's some good ones, but there's some bad ones too. So we're not going to go down there. But then they give you these sites here where you can check to see if you're compliant. I'm not compliant. I would have to scrub a bulk of my channel just to become compliant. I'm kind of just hoping that maybe there comes a way where I can just set it not appropriate for children and then just move on with my life. I don't want to have to go through 1,000 videos to tweak each one to say it's not suitable for children or it is suitable for children. I just want channel blanket, you know, you need to be 13, you know, put your age in here type thing. I know that's not really a good deterrent, but, you know, whatever. So that is it in a nutshell. I do recommend you going into the description and checking out the FTC versus YouTube thing for yourself. You can read the comments. And then, of course, M.P.A.'s video at the Game Theorist discussing COPPA. He's a little bit more in-depth. I just read the website. But on the plus side, at least for me personally, is I'm so busy with work that it kind of helps me out in making me feel less obligated to put out content. And again, I appreciate everybody who has subscribed and who watched the videos, but unless there is like a big outpouring on like Patreon or something to create more videos, and then I just have to do them on either Mixer or Twitch or both of those. I have to figure out a new way to save them so people can still access them. I don't know. But thanks for watching. And don't forget, if you're a fan of the Transformers, Spinister and 8-Face are now available on the Hasbro Pulse website. So go ahead and order yours. And thanks for watching. Thank you for checking out our content. Before you leave, please remember to click like and then subscribe. If you want to receive notifications, do not forget to enable them by clicking on the bell. Then afterwards, check out our social media at HaslageNet and our website at haslage.net.